Thank you, Moria, for the opportunity to be here, sharing my perspective and present SBGC.
Wow, okay. So let us start step by step. We know that your name is Julia Frossard. We know that you come from Brazil. Now you added the name of organization that you're representing, SBGC, and indeed we want to hear SBGC's KM story through your eyes and your journey. So start step by step by introducing us. Who's Julia?
So I'm a knowledge management consultant, part of the technical team of SBGC, which is the Knowledge Management Brazilian Society. And I also serve as a member of the executive board of SBGC for the term of 2025 and 26. And as a volunteer, I hold the positions of a secretary director and also director of international relations. And I'll talk a little about my background. I hold a specialization in knowledge management and business intelligence, and also in business administration. But going back a little, my bachelor's degree is in history, and I also studied cultural anthropology at graduate level in the University of South Carolina in the United States. So I have international experience working in different organizations. And I also worked with education for 10 years. I was a teacher back then. And recently I changed a little my dedication to knowledge management. So in 2022, I became a member of SBGC, and I got involved in many initiatives, both voluntary and working as a consultant. So one of my roles is to represent SBGC internationally, and that's how we got connected with Moria through representing SBGC at KMGN, the Knowledge Management Global Network. And yeah, I'm very privileged to be part of a community that is dedicated to advancing the field of knowledge management.
Wow. Now, there was something that was a bit untypical to what I at least am familiar with in KM networks worldwide, because knowledge management, unlike other professions like lawyers, legal, and maybe other professions, most of us are work in one place, and later the evening, weekends, we volunteer in the networks. We are not so familiar with situations where the networks that are in charge of the knowledge management community are also organizations, companies that have employees that work within them in knowledge management. So can you share with us this model, how it works?
Yeah, so just having a broad view of SBGC, we're a nonprofit organization founded in 2001. So with accumulated knowledge and experience through the implementation of knowledge management, as a social society organization of public interest, we rely on directors and teams who work voluntarily, but are also recognized as specialists in their fields, both in knowledge management and related areas in their organizations. So we have around 300 members, professionals, and up to more than 20 organizations right now. So I think this environment of exchange and collaboration fosters our initiatives. And the way we we're able to operate and bring value to our both associates and the public in general are through the dedication of those people who get involved in our initiatives and who are part of the groups and communities of practice, for example, exchanging their expertise and combining efforts in solving solutions. So this is a very important initiative. And through events, for example, KM Brazil, which is recognized as the biggest knowledge management event in Brazil and in Latin America. And also through the development and learning of professionals and organizations in knowledge management. So helping them deal with knowledge management in practice. And we have a certification course that annually we have two annual groups with up to 15 to 20 students per term. So that alone is a great contribution. And along with that, I think one of our key deliverables is this platform of collaboration and exchange through all of those initiatives, as well as the specialized services we provide organizations, not only private organizations, but also third sector organizations and public ones.
Wow. So if I understand correctly, what I'm learning is that this SBGC network has income based on events, based on platforms, and based on courses and specialized services. And this one thing that strikes my mind is that the specialized services don't compete with the market. However, you find a way to work in collaboration so that on one hand, everyone is welcome to join and maybe take part in providing such specialized services. On the other hand, there is yet place for other consultants or for knowledge managers within organizations, and they both work in the Brazilian market in a way that complement one another and collaborate with one another, and not as a classic model that we may have that we are used to, of one competing the other.
Yeah, I think like the specialized area at SBGC is right now limited to like we cannot offer services to a great number of organizations at a time. So we have right now 7 specialists providing services, and there are consultants providing services to SBGC. But yes, I think there is an environment of collaboration in a way that organizations exchange their knowledge and experiences, especially at our community of practice in knowledge management and innovation. Just combining their experience trying to solve problems and exchange resources, methods, and tools for improving knowledge management in general. And the services we provide as consultants are offered to organizations that look for this, and they come to us requesting their services because they have challenges, and it's urgent that knowledge management answers them, promoting the better problem solving and decision making.
Wonderful. It's a very interesting model, and I think that maybe additional countries can copy and learn from it. So thank you for sharing us this model. Now, before we go and speak about a specific project that SBGC has been running the past year or two of several years, give us a bit overview, if you can, on the maturity of knowledge management in Brazil, because you are a network. So are 300 members a lot? Is it not a lot because there are many networks, or because it's not mature yet, knowledge management, or they are knowledge managers but not yet organized enough? Share with us, please.
Yeah, I think as a knowledge management society, we still have potential to grow and engage more professionals and more organizations, of course. We have a limitation that is common to third sector organizations, that is the reliability on voluntary work and structured processes to grow. So that's one side. But yes, I think that in Brazil, knowledge management is gaining prominence in organizations, and we understand that it comes together with the potential to fund these initiatives. So bigger organizations are, of course, more developed in a way that they started earlier and grew in maturity, accumulating experience and knowledge throughout those years. So considering SBGC was founded in 2001, right? But we even have an initiative to try to map the landscape of knowledge management in Brazil. And we found out that by what the participants tell us, because it's it's their perspective about their organizations, not maturity evaluated by any sort of methodology. But we found out that there are many organizations that reach a high maturity level, having elements that we consider very important for knowledge management, for structured and systematic knowledge management. Let's say knowledge management policy and governance structured, and a strategy or a system, a well-structured system and initiatives that run systematically. But we still see that there is a long run and much to develop, where many organizations are still not maybe didn't have the opportunity to see value and implement knowledge management. So I think we in Brazil right now could work on promoting knowledge management to other organizations like the third sector and public organizations, which are well structured but could benefit from knowledge management structured initiatives.
A big country, huge potential, utilization on its way.
Yes.
Can you share with us a typical or a specific project that you have been running within SBGC?
Yeah, I think when we talk about the projects, it's important to mention, and I'd like to take a few minutes here to do that, is to talk about our knowledge management reference model that guide all of our initiatives, and specifically towards providing services to organizations. And it has recently been updated in collaboration. So it was a collective effort, joining perspectives from our associates, both professionals and representatives of our organizations, the members. And through this reference model, we understand that knowledge management as a systematic and structured approach needs to follow some steps. And I'll give an example that with an organization, a third sector organization that came to us with the need to structure dissemination of knowledge to foster initiatives in other contexts. They deal with vulnerable communities, and they act in partnership with other organizations. So they needed to disseminate this knowledge so that other organizations in other contexts could have access and reapply social technologies and other methodologies and lessons learned and so on. So understanding their needs, we start from a diagnostic of the challenges and understanding how these specific challenges affect their deliverables. And so following our reference model, we understood that we cannot tackle dissemination, knowledge dissemination, without an integrated view of the other processes downstream and upstream to disseminating knowledge. So with this, we are able to deliver a customized solution to the clients based on their specific needs and understanding all of these processes integrated in all of the efforts, considering technology, content, people, processes, culture, aligned with a well-defined strategy.
So what I'm hearing is step 1, discovery. Step 2, design a strategy that should and must be customized to the specific context, not only the needs, but the context within the organization, like in this case you're sharing with us on with vulnerable population. And then when you design a solution, it always includes technology as a platform, knowledge processes, dealing with the information, knowledge, documented knowledge itself, and dealing with the change management or the culture. Can you share some details of this example or some other? Because now we learned about the process, but can you share some example?
Yeah, I think what you mentioned in our reference model, we have 3 dimensions, which is the strategical dimension. So in this diagnostic, understanding the challenge, we also consider the strategic level. And so in this phase, we consider the knowledge management policy, the governance, the strategy. And also in this sense, we also conduct a identification of critical knowledge. So the mapping, knowledge mapping is also a tool here, both to inform this process of structuring and after to promote a more accuracy in implementing the initiatives. So phase 1 would be this, considering this dimension and structuring knowledge. So we go on to the processes, to the dimension of processes, which we include the initiatives, the technology meaning here that the tools that support knowledge management, but they're not always necessary. So, for example, in this particular organization, for disseminating knowledge, they have to structure the creation of knowledge products. And since they work in partnership with other organizations, they have to have a platform to organize the flow of the activities for production, including the production itself, elaborate the proposal, and then going through a validation process and then going after to the actual dissemination of the knowledge product. So in this sense, a platform here would be very useful to streamline this process. And then considering culture, the cultural dimension here, which we talk about the environment as a whole, considering the change management and communication, and also understanding that an organization needs to foster a knowledge management network, combining expertise and capillarizing knowledge management throughout the organization, putting together specialists with the knowledge workers and facilitators and even sponsors and at all levels. So we understand that this is something that needs to be done structurally all along the process.
So two things that I noted that I think that should be mentioned. One is prioritization. There's so much content, so much knowledge out there, and you have to prioritize the critical knowledge so that you don't drown in all the details, in all the knowledge nuggets, in all the processes. And that's an important thing that we must remind our listeners. One more thing is you started speaking about how to work with all stakeholders. And you said that it's not one suit that fits all, but you have to think about every type of role, and maybe even within it on some subgroups. But before we go to that, and before you tell us more about the change management, can you share with us a challenge or two that you encountered on this journey?
I think there are a few we can talk about. Perhaps communication is an important interface to knowledge management, and we find sometimes challenging to have this alignment and promote initiatives and like ongoing initiatives that go together and sustain knowledge management in the organization. So communication is a key ingredient there, and sometimes challenging in some clients. We see that it's a challenging situation to deal with. And also, I think the buy-in from the leadership, like is sponsoring knowledge management. So it is common that the leaders recognize the value of knowledge management, but at the same time, maybe don't act to incorporate knowledge management in the processes and in decision making. Whether we see a need, for example, to incorporate incentives and recognition to promote knowledge management in a way that the collaborators will find it important and rewarding to be involved in the initiatives, as well as, for example, the acting of the leadership promoting this behavior of collaboration and sharing. They need to step first and show the way. And sometimes we see that they're involved in other priorities and sometimes don't take the time to get involved and be there, to engage people.
What I hear is that commitment is not a yes/no question, but rather people can say, yes, we are in favor, and that's why we order this work, and we're even paying for it. too many times they think that that's enough, and they won't take the extra mile that's required in order to see that the people underneath actually collaborate, actually share their knowledge, actually use the knowledge. So give us a tip or two. What would you recommend any other organization that is in a similar situation? And we know many of these, because this is a very common problem.
Yeah, I think the involvement, maybe reducing the barriers, in hierarchy levels within the organization. So yeah, getting involved in the initiative. So let's say there's an event, go there, maybe in person or virtually. Today it's more common, but be there and talk and give an example. Maybe take the coats off and see we're all in the same boat, right? I guess people in the operations and more tactical or strategic level, they're all working towards the same objective. So I think getting involved and maybe even participating in person of these initiatives. I know what we see a lot is lack of time is a challenge, allocating time to specific demands, but the involvement is really important. And I think there is where communication plays an important role, because sometimes the leaders are not there to be to engage in some initiatives personally, but communication can fill the gaps and convey messages with testimonials or even cases, showing that what everyone does is important as a whole, And I think structuring knowledge management and including it in the strategic level, let's say objectives and values, the mission, and making it well understood throughout the organization, that clear objective of what knowledge management is, what knowledge is for the organization, and understanding the benefits and gains of incorporating it both to the leaders and to people that are doing their activities in other departments. So I think this clear understanding and alignment is very important.
Okay. Let me see that I understood it all one by one, because you gave us some wonderful tips that we can all use. A, push the managers, push the leadership into taking the time and attending events. A, they will hear, they will listen, they will understand. But B, because they are leaders and because they are managers and because they know the work and they are poor knowledge management, they will know to say the right things that will push people to share and to understand the importance within these meetings, within these events. Two, that was one. Two, when they cannot attend, because yes, they are very busy people, find other ways to communicate and to pass the message that it's important to them by sending a written communication or a recorded one. So it won't have the same effect, but it will have a good effect. These two tips had to do with attending and non-attending events. The third tip I heard had to do with your work as a knowledge manager, not only to push them, but to see that within the strategy of the company or the department or whatever levels we're speaking about, we integrate, we embed knowledge management, and not only as a sentence, but we structure it into the processes, we structure it into the other statements that are in the strategy, so that it is embedded into the strategy, so that people understand what knowledge is, what the importance of knowledge is, and what the importance of knowledge life cycle processes are, of acquiring new knowledge, of sharing knowledge within what they're doing. And if we have even these 3 tips and take 1 or 2 of them, we're in a better place.
Yeah, I think so.
Wonderful. Okay, so if we're going back to your organization, a case study that you're sharing from SBGC, do you want to share us what would be the next steps if tomorrow you could say, okay, what would I do now?
Well, thinking about SBGC, I think we have a potential to grow, as I said earlier. So I think we have to structure processes and try to reach other professionals and organizations. And we already do that by, I think this is an effort that aligns with our mission and our vision to promote the knowledge management society by integrating professionals and organizations, not only private ones, but in the public sector and third sector and the community. So I think tackling this maybe leveraging access to knowledge management by expanding the initiatives to other organizations and contexts, let's say universities. We have to expand our partnerships to evolve in our initiatives in a broader way, and including so, for example, now we're holding our KM Brazil conference in September, and we are bringing together professionals from all of these sectors and the academia and private public organizations and the third sector, and also bringing themes that are critical but that haven't yet maybe gained much attention. We're having a pre-event about indigenous knowledge, for example. In KM Brazil, we're going to have different sectors like education, health, and even sports that are not areas, talking about sports, that have a lot of potential, growth potential with knowledge management. We're also bringing together people interested in knowledge management for sustainable development. So these initiatives, I think, go in line with our intention of growing and promoting the knowledge management society in a broader perspective.
Wow, now I'm taking off my hat. I'm interviewing you as Rom Global, as we have this series of knowledge management interviews, and I'm putting my hat for a minute of KMGN and KM Global Week. And I'm asking you, dear Julia, yes, I think that KM Week could be a wonderful platform for you in order to draw the awareness. Do you have plans as SBGC for the KM Week?
Yes, we've been thinking about it because it's in October. So we're preparing some events, and from our Congress, we'll have some events going from there, because we have about 50 papers accepted. So we'll have lots of professionals exchanging ideas that we'll invite to share during KM Week. And as I said, bringing the perspective of different sectors, health, sports, SMEs, and in different fields, energy and defense. I think Knowledge Week will be also a platform for provoking reflections and ideas about how to apply knowledge management in different contexts. And talking about people who maybe are thinking, oh, what is knowledge management, right? I think KM Week is also a good way for us to reach out to those professionals and organizations that are curious about or want to improve initiatives that are not just in the start. So I think we'll also prepare something for getting the word out there and bringing more people to knowledge management and SBGC.
You make me so glad, and not only me, I believe that any KMer that's hearing you is saying, we want KM Global Week, like in Brazil, also in our places, wherever we are. But people, you can join some of these events if you know to speak Portuguese, because I think that most of them won't be in English. You're inviting many people to join, but not everyone will understand what if they join.
Yeah, but I think nowadays with technology, you can find ways to take advantage of events worldwide in other languages, but we can perhaps plan something in English as well.
We're waiting to hear. So some ending statement. What's your message to the world on knowledge management? Or not to the world, but to the listeners here?
I think I'm going to share a more personal perspective. I see great potential in knowledge management applied to sustainable development. And I think that this requires us to transcend the boundaries and the walls and the barriers of our own organizations and seeing a little further away and how knowledge management can contribute to sustainable development in improving decision making and urgent problem solving. That would be wonderful if each of us reflect and act collectively and collaborate towards the improvement of knowledge management in our society as a whole.
I'm speechless. We're speaking about knowledge management not only for organizations to have better performance, to have better profit, but for a much bigger purpose of making life, making society, making the globe a better place. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you. I thank you for the opportunity of being here, you know, along with other specialists that I personally admire, and you also. So to present SBGC, and we're here. I think there is more to come, and with KMGN, I invite everyone to, you know, just get to know KMGN initiatives and also SBGC. Visit our website and LinkedIn, and let's be connected.
Will do. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.